All right. Now we're gonna switch things up a little bit now, right? We're gonna switch things up a little bit. We had a lot of questions on, you're talking about all these other companies. It's all exciting. There's a lot happening in technology, but tell us a little bit more about what you do, your own background, what you've learned, things that are interesting to you, right? And I think where we just have to start, to me, is the biggest, most pressing, most global, common enterprise growth problem that I've seen in my time. And that's really just what enterprises are getting wrong about GTM today, 2026, still in 2026. So I've been in consulting enterprise, 7, 8, 9 years, moved into big tech and seeing how they operate in terms of go-to-market, trying to combine some sort of marketing, sales and products organization and create a revenue factory. And honestly, even from coming out of uni as a fresh-faced graduate, I was, from then and to this day, shocked at what these companies are doing. These are big multi-billion-dollar B2B companies. Yeah. And you look at it and go, what are you actually doing? Like, what are you doing? What's going on? And I think my kind of diagnosis of this illness that I've seen and just seen repeatedly over and over again is just this obsession and fascination with really just zeroing in on these granular problems around attribution. So when I look at all of them, I said big multi-billion-dollar B2B companies, almost all of them, and at this point, it's probably somewhere from 80 to 90 that I would have spoken to about this problem over the years. The vast majority of them have this obsession over attribution. So they're looking at, their marketing channel, they're building these kind of 4-funnel demand attribution models, looking at what marketing is generating, look at what SDRs are generating, what are salespeople generating. And you kind of look at it and going, yeah, cool. Like, it's cool. Tell me what the conversion rate is for them. Look at them, see how they're converting, how much pipeline are they generating, and how much are they closing. But what we're really finding is that none of them are really working, to the way that they'd want them to work. Yeah. So what ends up happening is it goes back to the CMO normally, and the average tenure for a CMO now is something like 17 months. So it's a high turnover because they're effectively seen as the revenue leader and they're held responsible for a number of things which end up not being in their control. Right. None of it works. And they're all trying to individually attribute a system that's not working and separate it into 4 parts that are also not working. And so, of course, if you take 4 slices of something that doesn't work, and get really granular on the metrics and sub-metrics within each of those slices, the sum of the parts it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And so when I look at it, I've really been kind of thinking deeply around how do you fix this now? And I've now, we've built some use cases and case studies that have actually fixed it. And you go from focusing on attribution by channel or by team or by department, and you really just start to elevate the whole thing and just start thinking, okay, how much am I spending in total to try and grow this business? Whether that's across marketing, whether that's across sales, outbound, whatever functional department it is. How much in total? What is the dollar amount that I'm putting in to grow this business, and what am I getting back? Honestly, you'd be shocked. Some of them are happy with, I put in $1 million, I get back $1 million. Some of them are even happy with I put in $1 million and I get back 800K, like, because it's revenue, right? Yeah. But I think what we're seeing is we're now in a market that has a lot more scrutiny on spend, particularly in GTM. And so putting in $1 million of cost and getting back less than you put in is not acceptable anymore, right? This ain't, 2018 or 2019 when it was just raise as much as you want and just grow as fast as you can, right? I think, aside from the LLM models, they can do whatever they want to do right now. In general, there is a little bit more kind of skepticism and scrutiny around what is the return on that spend. And so the ones that do it well, the ones that do it really, really well, they think about it completely differently. So they obsess less on the attribution by channel, team, department, and they think more around what as a factory, what is our ROI? And so they shift from, marketing's going to do campaigns over here, SDRs are going to sell to these, these businesses, and the self-gen from the sales team is going to do X, Y, Z. And they really start thinking around how can we actually turn this into an assembly line, a real revenue factory where, we have our list of target companies and leads that we want to speak to. We track the signals religiously. What are the signals that we're getting from these companies that now they actually might have a problem that we can solve? And then they start thinking about how they're going to attack, right? Maybe, okay, we found a big list that we think we can target for a relatively reasonable cost, say 10,000 with a campaign that is going to give them some messaging every single day based on the signal or problem that they are facing, so that not only do they think of us as the solution provider now, but every day they're starting to get a move from awareness through to, consideration through to actually buying from us. So you could see that signal and see that problem, put them into a marketing campaign and start to generate results. Then you're layering on your sales team, right? So maybe your SDRs are now thinking, because of that signal, I'm going to go and call, whoever their buyer is. Maybe I'm going to go and call this chief operating officer because I know that they're facing this problem. And then you're generating quality in your pipeline. And then it's getting to the closers.
Yeah.
So by then they've seen some content, they've had a relevant and informed call from an SDR, and the closers are there ready to sign the big, or create and sign the big contract. So you move from having these disparate teams that are all really focusing on their own metrics and none of them are really working and they're all pointing fingers at each other and getting annoyed, to one revenue factory that is led by, a relatively senior CRO. And and it's a flow, it's an assembly line, it's a revenue factory. So that's a method that has worked. The companies that are really, growing, exploding right now are doing that. And that's where you start to look at, your kind of Lovables or even your Clays, the guys who are doing really, really well. They have that factory, they have a content engine as well that they start with so that they can understand which of the leads that they'd like to target are actually warm. Have they started to engage with some of our content? Have they even signed up for a free version or free trial of our product? Yeah. And using that as a pretty warm intent and lead base to actually use their SDRs and sales teams to go and attack. So again, you're all now, you have some individual responsibilities, but you now have a shared accountability to it. You're now looking at much more easily to track how much revenue or how much cost am I putting into this to try and grow, and what revenue am I getting back. And then you can start, looking at the attribution layer. Okay, what's the conversion like of our SDRs now? What's the conversion like of our sales team? Yeah. Because you know that they're all working and pulling together and they're working on opportunities that actually make sense. And, lo and behold, you start seeing the return go from, spending $1 million to get back 800K to spending $1 million and getting back 6 million. Yeah. So that's how we're seeing these astronomical.
Yeah, I think this is very interesting, and it's one that we have, because of the products we have, we're able to see ourselves when we speak to customers. But something I find interesting, I wonder, is why do you think this still happens? Because you would expect people should know this. Like, you would expect this is something that should be obvious. Like, the metrics you're focusing on are not ones you should be focusing on. Like, sometimes I wonder, what do you think is the reason this still happens?
Do you know what it is? For me, I honestly think it goes back to an inertia to change. So you look at these Gartner reports that have been going for decades, and that kind of just tells you broadly, this is what you do. People have grown up with a school of thought that this is what you do. But things changed. Yeah. And one thing I'll tell you for free, one thing that the big corporates struggle to do is change quickly. They just haven't found the formula to be able to do it. So what you'll find is that often there are some relatively senior and smart and switched on people that know that really this isn't optimal. This isn't really how we should be doing things, but either there's a political reason why they won't change it because they want a promotion and it's going to be difficult to push through that change and it's going to go against the agenda of someone else. Yeah. Or they're looking at it and going, thinking how long it would take to change this and get us into a revenue factory. You're looking at, probably 18 months worth of change. My average tenure is 17 months. Even if I know that this is what we need to do, am I even going to make it if I don't deliver some short-term results? Yeah. So you get into this almost fool's game, and a similar thing that you see in politics where the politician knows what the longer-term vision needs to be, but they want to get elected for the next time. Right. So you start seeing these short-term decisions repeatedly over and over again, and to the point where you start having this Frankenstein organization that can't efficiently generate revenue and profit. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It actually reminds me of a convo we had recently about we're talking about marketing actually, and we're seeing how some small companies come up and they do certain things, and you see how, like, you know, look how they were able to generate so much, and you think, why wasn't this obvious to like more established companies? And it's like, yeah, it makes sense because they kind of have. There's so many other reasons why they would not want to do this kind of things, and then, but really, those are the moves they should be making.
Yeah, I mean, people are shocked that a Lovable gets to 100 or 200 million ARR within a couple of years, but you look at it and go, it's content first. The guy, Anton, the founder, is phenomenal at understanding the power of turning content into revenue. So you see them everywhere. Everyone knows the brand by now. It's used by people who are not even technical. I saw a post from a senior marketing guy there talking about plumbers using Lovable to build websites. It's starting to get that mind share because all the content is out there.
Sure.
So that's almost, for them, that's almost kind of step 0 or step 1 of the funnel. And man, some people make the mistake of thinking, oh yeah, that means that it's just marketing and it's just marketing, really great marketing. No. It's not just it's not just a marketing or content engine. On top of that, you do have a sales-led motion as well. It's just that it's based on triggers that come from the content and come from the usage of the product.
Like dead-on bang signals.
Exactly.
Like you know what your target is.
Exactly. Of course.
The conversion would obviously.
Exactly. Of course it's going to be drastically higher. So that is the new way. That is how I think about it. That is the new way to go to market in 2026. And we see it. The ones who do it well, they are exponentially growing. To hundreds of millions of revenue very, very quickly. It doesn't mean that, a big enterprise can't do it. No, but it's as with everything, it's going to take them many years to change and to become efficient. And the sad part is, by the time that they've done that, there'll be a new, smarter way to grow quickly, profitably as well.